Okay, this is a review guide for the first part of chapter 10. Number 1, it says an expression shown to the right, 3 root 37x. Which value of x makes the expression equivalent to 12 root 37? So this is what you have, and this is what you're going to get. So you're going to go from a 3 to a 12. How do you get from 3 to 12 with multiplication? You multiply by a 4, right? So you need a 4 on the outside. If you have 1 4 on the outside, how many 4s were on the inside? There would need to be 2 of them, correct? Well, 4 times 4 is 16. I would need a square root of 16 to get a 4 on the outside to make that a 12. So x should have been 16. Here it says if x is greater than 0, the square root of 3x times x is equivalent to 3xx. I have a pair, I bring it out, x root 3. Number 3, you could simply put this in your calculator, but if we were to do this by hand, it'd be 3 times 5. The square root of 9 is simply a 3, and it's to the negative first. 3 times 15 to the negative first. 3 is technically a positive first. 15 is negative, so it needs to be moved. Now it's positive, and this reduces to 1/5. Okay. 21, it's the square root of 21 over the square root of 15. If I break them apart, I get the square root of 3 times the square root of 7 over the square root of 3 times the square root of 5. These simplify. So I have the square root of 7 over the square root of 5. I can't have a square root in the denominator, so I multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 5. You get 5 in the denominator, because we rationalized it, over the square root of 35 on top. So your answer is C. What also you could have done is put this in your calculator and gotten a decimal, and put this in your calculator and gotten the same decimal. What you'll realize here is if you put this in, you're not going to get that same decimal. Here, this could be broken down, so you know that's not the answer. And here, you know this could have been simplified, so that's not the answer. Number 5, n minus 9. I want to know the square root of that. Well, it tells you n is 25. When I put 25 in, I'm going to get 16. So my answer is 4. Number 6 is foiling. We have 2 root 7 times 3 root 6. 2 times 3 is 6, root 42. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, root 14. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 2 is negative 6. 3 times 2 is 6. Well, they all have 6, root 42. They all have minus 4, root 14. These are all different. And then we have 6, root 6 for all of these. So none of them have 9, 8, root 18 because we can break down 18 to 3 times 6, find a pair, bring it out, and this should be that number. What is root 24 over 4 in simplest form? It's going to be 2 times 2, which is 4, times 6, which is 2 times 3, all over 4. Pair of 2's, bring it out. Root 6 over 4 becomes 1/2, or root 6 over 2. The answer is D. What is the perimeter of the rectangle? The width is 4 root 2 plus 6 root 5. The length is 5 root 2 and 3 root 5. Well, that's going to be the same thing for the top and the bottom. So whatever's here is also here. So I'm going to have 2 of the 4 root 2 plus 6 root 5 sides plus 2 of the 5 root 2 plus 3 root 5 sides. That's going to be 8 root 2 plus 12 root 5 plus 10 root 2 plus 6 root 5. That leaves me with 8 root 2 and 10 root 2, which is 18 root 2, and 12 root 5 and a 6 root 5, which is 18. You probably need some more space. You could have done it over here too. Number 9 is simplify. If I can take the radical of the entire thing, I can separate them. This still needs simplify. The square root of 9 is 3. 7 is just simply 7. So your answer is D. If I put this in a calculator and I put all these in a calculator, this wouldn't work. This wouldn't work. Okay, this can still be simplified. The diagonal of a box is the square root of 18, which in length, in feet, is equivalent to the length of that. So all they wanted you to simplify it. They just gave you a word problem to do it. Square root of 18 is the same thing as 2 times 9, which is 3 times 3. You find a pair and you bring it out. Number 11, you need to rationalize the denominator. Oops. There's a root 2 on the bottom. We're going to rationalize it by doing the same thing to the top and the bottom. So it's going to be 2 times 2. So it's going to be root 10 over 4. Number 12, we're going to subtract each term. So y root 6 minus root 27 minus that y root 24. Root 6 cannot be simplified anymore. Root 27 is 3 times 3 times 3. And 24 is 4 times 6. You're going to have a pair. And you're going to bring it out. Minus, you're going to have a pair. And you're going to bring it out. These become 6. So pause and chew on that for a minute. Is it clicking? Maybe rewind and re-listen to that if it's not. There's a 1y here and a 2y here. So positive 1 and a negative 2 make a negative y root 6 minus 3 root 3. Okay. Number 13, it's going to be B. If I take a square root and I square it, those are inverse functions. Just like the inverse of addition, the inverse is subtraction. Multiplication, division. Squaring, square rooting. So what's the difference between raising something to the power, rooting it? They're going to cancel and just give you 14. Or you could put all these in your calculator and you'd see 14 would be B. Number 14, I want to rationalize the denominator by multiplying by a root 2 on top and bottom to give me 10. 2 times 2. Did we already do this one? Got copied twice. Well, extra points for you. Okay. 15, there are 5 A's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 B. Find an A, bring it out. Find an A, bring it out. You're left with AB inside. That's 2 A's, square root of AB. Okay, and number 16, this is starting from a stationary position, the velocity v of a roller coaster per second at the bottom of the hill can be modeled by this equation or function. H is the height in feet. So that was a lot of words for just saying simplify the equation. What's the square root of 36? 6. H is still inside. That's your answer. And determine the velocity of the roller coaster at the bottom of a hill of 11. That would be it, or put it in your calculator and actually get an approximation. Either one is okay. You probably wouldn't leave it like that. I don't have a calculator on me right now, so that's what you would do. And it said feet per second. Number 19, a student simplified 4 root 125 and the steps are taken below. One of the steps is incorrect. All right, so we go from 125 to 100 plus 25. You cannot do that. You have to put it into factors. So step 1 is wrong. So we would need to write 4 root 125 is equal to 4 when you divide and put this into prime factorization, you take out a 5 and you're left with 25, which is 5 times 5. It says use the corrected step to simplify this. So if you go a step further, you take a pair, bring it out, and that would be your answer. Oops, got cut off. So if you continued this down to here, this would be your answer, not this. And then that's it for the review guide.